So you've got a brand, but is it working? I mean, really working? It's a question that goes so much deeper than just sales. We're going to break down how you can actually measure the true health of your brand using real, hard data. Let's dive in. I know what you're thinking. How on earth do you measure a feeling or a reputation? A brand is such an abstract thing, it sounds kind of impossible to put a number on it, right? Well, the good news is it's not. There's actually a pretty clear method for doing exactly that. Okay, so the best way to wrap your head around this is to think of it like a brand health checkup. Seriously, you'd never go to the doctor and have them only take your temperature to see if you're healthy, right? Of course not. You need the whole picture: blood pressure, heart rate, the works. It's the exact same idea for your brand. So here's how we're going to tackle this. We're going to follow the customer's journey with your brand, step by step. We'll start with what brand health even is, then we'll dive into getting noticed, earning their interest, and the big one, creating true fans. And at the end, we'll tie it all together. All right, let's jump in. Stage 1 is all about getting noticed. You can think of this as the first date between your brand and a customer. It's all about that crucial first impression. You just need to get on their radar. And the absolute foundation here is something called brand awareness. Super simple. It's just the percentage of people you're trying to reach who even know you exist. Because let's be real, if they don't know who you are, they're definitely not going to buy from you. Everything, and I mean everything, starts right here. Okay, but we need to get a little more specific here. There's a subtle but really important difference between awareness and recall. Awareness is, seeing your logo and going, oh yeah, I've seen them before. But recall? That's the holy grail. That's when someone thinks, I need a new phone, and your brand is the very first one that pops into their head. That is the ultimate goal. So how do we actually measure this stuff? Well, there are 3 big metrics to watch. First, you've got impressions. That's just the total number of times your ad or post was shown to someone. Then there's reach, which is a bit different. It's the number of unique people who saw it. So if I see the same ad 10 times, that's 10 impressions, but the reach is only 1, me. And finally, share of voice. This one's cool. It tells you how much of the conversation in your industry is about you versus your competitors. But look, it's not enough just to be seen, right? It's about how people feel about you. That's where brand sentiment comes in. It's basically the vibe of the online conversation about your brand. Are people hyping you up, tearing you down, or is it just crickets? This gives you a real-time pulse check on your reputation. Okay, so that leads us perfectly into stage 2, earning interest. People know you exist. Great. So what? Now the game is to get them to actually do something, to move from just knowing your name to actively leaning in and engaging. And the king metric of this stage is, without a doubt, the engagement rate. This one is so important. It tells you that people aren't just mindlessly scrolling past your stuff. Nope, they're actually stopping. They're hitting like, leaving a comment, sharing it. It's a direct measure of how interesting your brand really is. And don't worry, the math is way simpler than it sounds. You literally just add up all the likes, comments, and shares. Then you divide that total by the number of people who saw it. Multiply by 100, and bam, you've got your percentage. That one little number tells you a ton about how good your content is. And it's not just about social media either. You got to look at your digital home base, your website. Are people even showing up? That's your website traffic. And when they get there, do they stick around and click on a few things? That's your time on site. But here's the kicker. Are they actually doing the thing you want them to do? That's your conversion rate. Which brings us to the real holy grail of branding. Stage 3, creating fans. This is where the magic happens. We're talking about turning a one-time customer into a true loyal advocate, someone who doesn't just come back for more, but who literally brings their friends along for the ride. And how do you measure that kind of loyalty? The gold standard is called the Net Promoter Score, or NPS. And it's so powerful because it all comes down to one simple, elegant question. The answer tells you so much more than just if someone is satisfied. It tells you if they're willing to put their own reputation on the line to recommend you. Think about that. So you might be wondering, what's a good score? Well, honestly, anything above 0 is a start. But if you're hitting a score like a plus 45, now you're talking. That's considered really strong. And it means you've got a solid army of people out there actively promoting your brand for you. Yeah, this is a perfect example of what a promoter actually sounds like. It's that friend who's like, oh my God, you have to try this. They're not just a customer anymore.
They've basically become a volunteer for your marketing team, spreading the word because they genuinely love what you're doing. And that passion, it translates directly into growth. That's where your referral rate comes in. This metric is super straightforward. It just tracks how many new customers came to you because an existing customer told them to. It's the real, tangible proof that your high NPS is actually working. And last but not least, we have customer lifetime value, or CLV. And this one is huge. It's a prediction of the total amount of money a customer is going to spend with you over their entire relationship with your brand. A high CLV tells you that your fans are in it for the long haul. Okay, so we've got all this amazing data: awareness, engagement, loyalty, all these numbers. But what do we actually do with it all? The final and maybe most important step is putting it all together. It's about turning these isolated data points into a real, actionable strategy for growth.
You've got to have a plan. This isn't a set it and forget it kind of thing. You need to be looking at these key numbers regularly, maybe every month or every quarter. Have someone on your team who owns it. Use the right tools to track everything. And here's the key: you have to actually use what you learn to make smart changes. It's a constant cycle. Measure, learn, improve, repeat. At the end of the day, all of this boils down to one big strategic question you should constantly be asking yourself. Are all these metrics, from that very first hello to their long-term value, are they all moving in the right direction? Are they all helping you get closer to your biggest goals? Because really, that's what this is all about. This data, it's not just a bunch of boring numbers on a spreadsheet. Every single metric is a part of your brand's story. It tells you who you are, what people think of you, and where you're going. So the final question is pretty simple. What story is your brand telling?